Hey y'all, so Nerdy Girl is back with our second part, our cons for In the Heights. I do realize that this movie has a controversy, and I'm just gonna highlight a few things that just kind of stuck out for me. We can agree to disagree. I understand there's a lot of fans for this play. Comments are encouraged below, but please keep it kosher. If anything I sense is disrespectful, I will delete or disable the comment section. So let's try to keep it nice and kosher, y'all, civil. Just my opinions here as well. So let's move into the critiques. And also, if you'd like to keep in the loop, you can follow. You can hit that notification bell so you can be notified of my next upload, my next critique. Also, if you'd like to see my other reviews, I'm available on sofritoforyoursoul.com. So let's get into it, y'all. Also, before I get into my review, I just want to make not a disclaimer, but just keep in mind that people like myself who are longtime residents are fully aware of what our neighborhood and demographic looks like. We have lived in experiences here. These images that you're seeing are not movie sets. They're not props. These are our institutions. These are our local church. This is our local bodega and bakery. Our GWB, our George Washington Bridge. This is essentially home for us. I also, and anybody viewing this video that is a resident of Washington Heights, but is enamored by the film, don't take offense to what I'm saying. I want you to have a broader understanding of the things that I saw that were a big no-no for me. May not be for the person that's watching or people that are watching, but I need for people to maybe understand my commentary. You have to separate the romanticism that you have for the neighborhood to fully understand where I'm coming from in this review. You know, it's not automatically like, oh, but I see my black, I see my bridge, and your attachments that you formed to these particular visuals because they're tied to your memories. You know, you have to kind of, if you want to see it objectively, you have to kind of break apart from that. When I saw the trailer, I myself was enamored, and even the little girl that's running in the first few seconds of the trailer, I myself felt my tears kind of like forming, because that is my life. That was what I was. I'm born and raised in the Heights. But once I separated myself from that I realized that I can judge and critique the material, the content for what it is, solely based on what it is. Okay, so let's move on.
I immigrated from the single greatest little place in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic. I love it, Jesus, I'm jealous of it, and beyond that, ever since my folks passed on, I haven't gone back. God damn, I gotta get on then. Oh, the milk is gone bad. Hold up just a second. Why is every...
Okay, so right there is my first gripe, because again, I don't pretend to be an expert and knowing every single thing, and I don't know where Lin-Manuel's head was at the time. Remember, he wrote this when he was 19 and maybe developed it over the years. But those are the small intricacies that I believe separates every Latin American country and island, their dialect. I've never necessarily, I don't know 100% sure, but living as long as I have, I've never heard of folks that are Dominican saying "fo" to describe a stench. It's always been more of a "ay que bajo agrajo," something like that. That's said more than "fo." "Fo" is more of a Puerto Rican slang, more of a colloquialism that is known maybe on the island and even in New York, but that's more of that. It feels more traditional to what they would say as opposed to what Dominicans would say. I know it's a very minute, and a lot of the things that I've noticed are very small, but those are the small things that also do separate us, you know. And you have to, if you're writing a story that is centered based on a culture that you're not very familiar with, this is what I will say is that please hire people that would better advise you. Because again, I get it that the Broadway play had its place and it had its fans and people felt pride when they would go. But, and maybe you were trying to recapture the same thing with the movie, but people who walk the walk in this neighborhood and can pick up on those small differences are gonna not necessarily nitpick it, but are gonna it's gonna be a red flag for a number of people. Like, that's not typically what we would say. Also, I want to point out that yes, Usnavi has an urgency to kind of move back to the island, and at first, you know, my first interpretation was like, well, why would he want to do that if he, you know, his parent already made the decision, thought that he was better suited to have aspired to a better life and coming to the United States. Why is this sueñito to go back, you know, go back to the island? And then I've had this discussion again. Maybe this film has provided an avenue to really like get deep thinkers into thinking like, why would that happen? Does that sound correct? And I've spoken to a number of people who have gone through the whole process of, you know, growing up in the United States but being born over there, and that yeah, you may romanticize the idea of going back to an island that to a home, to your home where you felt safe and you felt comfort. So it made sense when I had that discussion, like, oh, it clicked for me, you know, again, because I don't claim to know everything. But, you know, and then that's not a critique. I'm not trying to bash that portion of the movie, but I was a little confused of like, why would he aspire to go back? And again, that's no shade. If you know, a lot of people work a lifetime here in the United States and then retire and go back to their Caribbean island or their country regardless. So again, that's just a little side note that I just wanted to make mention.
With Jose from the liquor store. No me diga. And that's Cuca, the salon ladies. Thanks, Usnavi. Cuca.
So that's Cuca, the introduction to Cuca Dasha Polanco's character. She wasn't a part of the original play. Now, she, for a salon lady, I'm very confused why she's wearing a wig. Why also at the salon are women not wearing their natural curls? I mean, I know that's maybe at the time when he wrote it, it wasn't such, you know, a progressive thought like it is today. But I feel like the movie bounces back from, because again, if it's, he wrote it at a time when, you know, those salons, those progressive salons weren't in existence. Why is there smartphones? Like, you know, and the blackout scene too, I believe it's the blackout from 99 where nobody had those cell phones. So again, I could just be, you know, picking at straws. So, but that's one thing. But Cuca, though she has a small role, Dasha has a small role, she has lines and she sings as well in the salon. She is of our curvier of actresses in the movie. And as you can see in that one scene, she's the more overly sexualized character. She lays it on thick when she's trying to flirt with Usnavi, even to the point of making that sound, which I believe is an Eartha Kitt, you know, homage, but maybe for comedic effect. But it just comes across as like, why is she so overtly sexual? The reason why I say is because, you know, and he couldn't have anticipated what we went through during COVID and the Black Lives Matter, even though there was a lot that we were seeing online and that we were seeing black women being accosted, harassed, even they were killing them basically. And the reason why I say is because black women, and again, this is just an opinion, it's an observation, but for the most part, black women are always judged harsher because of their physical attributes. And so because she's on the curvier side, why is she the overtly sexualized character? And then in comparison to our Vanessa character, that we have no clue what she is. We have definitive ethnicities with certain characters, but other ones go ambiguous, like Vanessa, which has a big role in this movie because she has the most dialogue as well and screen time. We never understand what her background is. But she is the typical Latina that we have all grown accustomed to seeing, either through Televisa, Telemundo, or Univision. She is the embodiment of what most North America sees Latinos as, or would like to see Latinos as. That's our representation checkbox, but they don't take into consideration women that look curvier and have hips, and no shade to Melissa Berrera, who plays Vanessa, but she is the statuesque, very long-legged, model-esque, actress that we have here on the cast. So, and not for nothing, but Vanessa's character, even though she's wearing pum pum shorts and whatnot and stockings that are visible, which is unheard of, honestly, up here, she is the one that seems more reserved because, she's getting catcalled in the street and she's so desirable in nightclubs, but she's the one that decides and says no and, whatnot. And Dasha doesn't necessarily look like she would do that. She seems like the person that would want to engage, would want to dance, would like the catcalling, and is like, So I just want people to take that into account, whether it was done intentionally or unintentionally for comedic effect. But you have to look at it seems very minute, but you have to think about how those offenses come across, or that those images come across, and then it gets embedded into the American psyche and how they see and perceive and judge Latinas, Latin life. Just saying. So that's Vanessa, and that's in the middle of her meeting with her real estate broker, and seeing if she qualifies for this posh apartment, which appears to be by St. Mark's. And again, I get it why they shot it that way. I believe that's where the public theater is. It's in a little small homage to where In the Heights made its debut, and so did Hamilton. Now, for Vanessa, first off, girl, why are you dressed in some pum pum shorts? We know as uptownies that, like, if we are to leave a good impression, that's part of code switching, and we realize that either we want a job or we want residence. We have to look a certain way. That's just corporate America kind of thinking. Why is she walking around in pum pum shorts? But I get it. Even if she has a tailored jacket, but still nonetheless. And why do you have your leading lady rummaging through trash? Please stop doing the, Fashion Runway, whatever show was on Bravo, and trying to attach it to the story to make it contemporary. There's plenty of people, plenty of fabric stores and experts that are seamstresses that can tell you where there's a fabric store up here. I know, again, it seems very minute, but in a way, for me, I saw that as a huge insult, just for the simple fact that, my mother comes from that background. She was a seamstress in her country, a seamstress here. That is how she made bread and butter. She paid her bills that way and also side hustled that way. So to see your leading lady rummaging through trash because she supposedly feels inspired, it's like she really couldn't go to a fabric store. Like, please don't have people rummaging through trash. Please, I know you see it in like a game show and you want to kind of attach it because it's just synonymous with pop culture, but it feels insulting. It felt insulting to me. I don't know if everybody saw it that way, but it did. Like, have her go through a fabric store, please. They exist up here. Thank you.
Chill out. You're hovering. You're doing that thing. Shit. That's your first of the day?
Okay, that's Sonny's dad. It was Navi's uncle, which was not, again, part of the original play. Why did that character need to be there? I know that they needed a reason why Sonny needed to go with his Navi back to DR, but it doesn't present for a positive image of Dominican life, just Dominicans in general. Let's just zero in on the fact that nobody here also has any features that look remotely close to Dominicans. But again, I know we all come in a variety of colors. I can see that. I am it. I am that. But why present this character this way? In this very neighborhood, we've had a number of issues. I understand nothing is perfect. No neighborhood is perfect. But why present this man as an alcoholic? If our aim is for positivity and, we want to show this neighborhood for all its glory, this was not it. This just definitely wasn't it.
Let me get an amaretto sour for this ghetto flower. How are you so pretty? You complete me. You have me at hello, you know you need me. Truly, madly, deeply, let's get freaky. Oh, I get it. You the strong and silent type. Well, I'm the Caribbean island type, and I can drive you wild all night. But I digress. Say something so I don't stress.
No hablo inglés.
Yes.
Another issue. Why in the lyrics are you calling this woman a ghetto flower? Is that supposed to be a backhanded compliment? Why is it when she starts dancing with you again? Because I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence. This woman is really curvy, but again, her moves are beyond what Vanessa, as you can see in comparison, in the sense that Vanessa is much more of the, dancer's body, and even the way she's dancing is a dancer's stance. But this lady is all rhythm and chest and this and that, and it's like almost to the point where it's too intimidating and Oznabi runs off. Those are the small things that bother me, because what are you saying? You're painting a portrait that if you're curvy, it leads to that. It's this over sexualized portrait. I am not on board, and we're not even touching the subject of the fact that, again, we still don't see enough melanin here. Most of the club, first you're listening to like cha-cha-cha, salsa, whatever, and we don't see enough black faces. We just don't. We don't see them. They're just maybe some here and there in the background, but that's it. Yeah, so again, they might seem minute, but to the average audience that isn't Latino, that is the interpretation that they will have and receive, that this is Latino life. I really honestly, I feel like it did miss the mark in certain things. I think in terms of positivity and positive images for children, it worked. But for adults and people who are of the neighborhood, who feel let down, I'm sorry, you should have incorporated by 2021, you should have incorporated these elements. If this is out of your area of expertise, please hire. There's enough people in the neighborhood that are fully equipped. There are writers, there are actors, people who have